Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1180B, and today's date is January 17th, 2017, and the title of the episode is, Are the Elite Preparing a Soft Coup on Inauguration Day? Let's get into the economic collapse, political and geopolitical news. Now, Obama's days, they are numbered. We know the inauguration is coming up in about 3 days or so, and he is going to be completely out of the White House. But before he leaves, he wants to do one more thing. Actually, it seems like every day he just wants to do one more thing. And he is rushing right now to fill almost 100 federal government vacancies. Now, some require Senate confirmation before he leaves office on Friday. And so far, he has appointed 72 individuals to federal positions and another 17 for nominations that require Senate approval. And he's doing all of this right before he leaves. He wants these positions filled. Now, it looks like the FBI has been paying Geek Squad to spy on Americans. And we know that you take your computer to Best Buy, to Geek Squad, and what they do is they repair, they take a look at your laptop or your desktop, and they help you with viruses and things like that. But once they have your system, it is completely open where they can search your history, your financial accounts, private emails, your photo album, anything that's in there. They can search through it. And the FBI realizes this. And it's been revealed that the FBI, well, they've been using the Geek Squad and paying them to spy on everyday Americans. There was a case, and this is according to the LA Times, Dr. Mark Albert Rettenmeyer, a gynecological oncologist who practiced in a hospital in North Beach, California. Well, he was indicted on 2 felony counts of possession of child pornography. Now, the way they found this out is that he brought his hard drive into Best Buy. Best Buy, which has the Geek Squad Center, sent it off to Kentucky, and there Justin Meade, a supervisor at the Geek Squad Center, he was looking through the hard drive, looking at the different photos that he had, different information, which is kind of strange, but looked at the information because to repair something, you don't need to actually look at someone's personal information, but they did, and they found suspicious photos of nude underage girls on the hard drive, and they decided to contact the FBI, and the FBI came in and paid him $500. And it looks like every time he finds something or reports something, he gets paid from the FBI. Now, the FBI wouldn't indicate for what purpose he was compensated. Now, the doctor's attorney says the FBI essentially used the employee to perform warrantless searches on electronics that passed through the massive maintenance facility outside of Louisville, Kentucky. Now, the Free Thought Project, who's been looking into this, they're saying that, listen, they have no sympathy for pedophiles or purveyors of child pornography. We do have a stake in the way the government goes about getting the dirt on private citizens. Meade, who was considered a paid employee of the FBI, used his occupation to gain access to private information from private computers and from private contract to repair said hard drive. The courts will have to decide whether or not Rettenmeyer's privacy was violated along with his Fourth Amendment right to unreasonable searches and seizures, because there was no warrant at all. This was just someone going through his information, looking through his private files. It's like someone coming into your house saying, listen, I need my plumbing fixed, and they started rummaging through your file cabinets, looking through at your tax returns, seeing that, you didn't pay your taxes or you did something like this. And again, this is your private information. And the government does need to get a warrant. Now, the government would have probably never gotten a warrant because they really weren't investigating this person at all. Now, we can see right now that the government is using Geek Squad to look through private individuals' private information. And again, to do this, the FBI needs a warrant, and they're violating each individual's rights. Now, Amnesty International, they're saying Europe is now cracking down on thought crimes. There's a new report that was published, and it says people can now be prosecuted for actions they have extremely tenuous links to actual criminal behavior. It claims that this has led to many people being placed under curfew, given travel bans, or electronically tagged without ever being charged or convicted of any crime. And the report warns, because there is no universally agreed definition of terrorism under international law, states and international bodies have created their own. And by doing so, over the years, because we've seen Germany do this, we've seen France do this, and many other countries do this, the definition of terrorism is very vague and overly broad. If people can't tell whether their conduct would amount to a crime, they cannot adjust their behavior to avoid criminality. The report also names countries including Hungary, France, Poland, UK, where changes to the law made it easier to implement tough emergency powers. And we can see that many countries like the UK, France, Germany, Poland, Austria, Belgium, Netherlands, well, they have upped the mass surveillance, and they've granted themselves more power. And we understand that the powers that be, the elite, the government, they are nervous and afraid of what is happening around the world, where people are saying, you know something, we don't want this government anymore. We want a different government, and we're not going to be voting for you. We're going to put out information to let everyone know that we don't want this government. But we can see that these government officials, they're doing whatever they possibly can to block this. Now, we know here in the United States, they blamed the win of Trump on fake news. And we can see throughout Europe, they're saying that, yes, there's a lot of fake news out there. Russia's pushing the fake news. And we see that out in Germany, there's going to be an election this year. Same thing in France. They have created a filtering service that will block fake news in Germany. German users of the social network will now be able to report a story as fake, and it will be sent to Corrective, a third-party fact-checker. If the fact-checker discovered it as fake, the story will be flagged. And guess what? People will now be warned, saying that this is completely fake. Do not share it. And they're also looking at laws to fine individuals, fine social media, if they're pushing fake news. Now, again, it all goes back to who's actually doing the fact-checking. Is it really fake? And what we've been seeing in the past is that the corporate media, the government-controlled news agencies, they're the ones who are pushing fake news. What they're really saying is we don't want the truth coming out, because if the truth comes out, that's going to hurt our chances of re-election. And remember, freedom of speech is freedom of speech. There's no, oh, this is not good freedom of speech, this is fake freedom of speech. Freedom of speech allows everyone to speak freely. The people to determine if, well, is this a real story or not a real story? Does it make sense? Let me do a little bit of research. The government is not there to tell you what's good and what's not good. You decide on your own. That's the beauty of free speech. Free speech allows everyone to say whatever they want at any time. Once the government gets involved and tells you these are the words that you're allowed to say, these aren't the words you're allowed to say when you're speaking, this is what you can read, this is what you can't read, this is permitted speech. This is not freedom of the press, this is permitted press. And you can see what the government is doing right now. Now, we understand out in Davos, Switzerland, they're having their meeting, and something very interesting that was spotted out in Davos. It's a anti-drone gun. It's a weapon that is used to block the signal to drones and brings them down. And actually, the one that we're looking at this picture, you can see it on the X22Report.com site, or you can see it on YouTube. This is a device that no one has really seen before, and it looks like it has a range that can go up to at least, like 1.2 miles or something, and it can interrupt the signals and bring the drone down. Now, we understand that these government officials, they're very nervous about the population. And what's happening right now is governments, they're struggling to retain trust of citizens. They've lost the information war. Social media has given everyone a completely new platform, separate and apart from the corporate media. And these people who are in power, they want the control back. They want to give you the information because this is what they want to present you. And a survey spanning 40 countries reveals how officials are failing to keep up with the changes in the way voters gather information and form opinions. And what we're seeing right now is that there's a distrust of central governments around the world. The survey spanning 40 countries is the first international review to reveal how deeply governments feel they are losing control and authority over communications. And what we're seeing right now is they're worried that people are going to find out the truth, what they've actually been up to. And I think the truth is coming out all over the world. And people are starting to realize that these governments are not working in the best interests of the people. Now, out in Ukraine, we see that Ukraine is still trying to blame everything on Russia. And we know the United States was involved in the coup d'etat in Ukraine, where they ousted the elected government official and they put in a puppet government, hoping to capture Ukraine, Crimea, the Black Sea port, the coal production, the gas pipelines. This was their entire plan, and it went south. It didn't work out. So Ukraine is taking it to the next level. They are bringing Russia to The Hague to pay for everything that's gone wrong inside of Ukraine. This is their last, most likely, ditch attempt to try to blame everything on Russia. We see out in Iraq, we see forces now have liberated 90% of eastern Mosul. And of course, the U.S. is out there saying that, yes, we have done it. We have removed 90% of the Islamic State. Well, they had a mop-up operation. They came in, they removed a lot of those individuals, brought them into Syria, cleaned up the information, and they kept on saying that the Iraqi forces would not be able to handle any of this. And the Iraqi forces are actually doing a very good job moving through this entire region. Out in Syria, we see a group of rebels. They have surrendered themselves and their weapons to the Syrian Arab army. And the rebels that have surrendered, well, they fall under the amnesty decree set forth by Assad, and they will be able to return home. They'll be able to have anything that they've done wiped out. They will not be prosecuted. And we can see there's a lot of moderate rebels out there that are doing this. They are surrendering, saying, okay, enough's enough. I'm going to go back to my life. And of course, the United States government central bankers, they don't like this because they have never given up on their goal to get Assad out. They're continually still trying. We see the Syrian Arab army. They have launched a powerful attack to recapture Deir ez-Zor, which was split by the Islamic State. And they are trying to push them back, and they are battling them right now to recapture the strategic roadway and the military airport there once again. Now, the other moderate factions, they said they are going to attend the upcoming peace talks in Kazakhstan. And the coalition of militants said they are going to give it top priority to discuss everything that's been going on. And we don't know if this is going to work, but we do know that this whole entire peace negotiation is backed by Russia, Iran, and Turkey. The U.S. was really not involved. And now Russia extended the invitation to the U.S. and the Trump administration, and the Trump administration will consider the official invitation to attend the Syria crisis settlement. But first, they want to make sure there's a vision on how to resolve the crisis. So we'll see how this turns out, but we can see there's talks already going back and forth. Now, Putin is out there, and he is warning of a Maidan-style attempt to delegitimize Trump during the inauguration. And he's warning that there could be some type of soft coup, just like in Ukraine. Now, we have to remember what happened in Ukraine was that the United States came in, spent about $5 billion, and they had a coup d'etat where they removed the elected government official and they replaced it with Poroshenko, who is a puppet government. And there were intermediate government officials before him, but the whole thing was to capture the entire region, keep the Ukraine in the have them join the EU instead of Russia, make sure they got the Black Sea port, and that whole thing didn't work. But Putin is saying that something is brewing, and it looks like something might happen during inauguration. Now, down on the borders of Mexico to the U.S., we see that terrorists, cartels, they're planning a border attack for the inauguration. And we see right now that they're going to send a message to Trump. Now, we'll have to watch this area. The watchdog group Judicial Watch is reporting that, yes, they are planning to do something on the borders of the United States. And we'll have to keep an eye on this, because we're also seeing there are ads running across 24 cities around the nation from a company called Demand Protest. They've posted advertisements on Backpage.com offering $2,500 a month for anyone wanting to be a professional protester at the inauguration events. Now, the $2,500 is a monthly retainer, and Demand Protest pays an additional $50 per hour per event, as long as each operative attends at least 6 protest events per year. And the ad went something like this: "Get paid fighting against Trump. We pay people already politically motivated to fight for things they believe. You are going to take action anyways. Why not do so with us? We are currently seeking operatives to help send strong messages at upcoming inauguration protests." Now, we know a lot of this is funded by Soros. We see that they're paying these individuals to cause problems in the area. And Project Veritas, well, they just put out part 2 of their series that shows another group, Disrupt J20, where they're looking to completely paralyze various modes of transportation. And on the video, they're looking to shut down traffic. They intend to shut down all the major ingress points in the city. So what we're seeing here is we already have 2 groups that are looking to try to shut down what is about to happen on the 20th. And we can see that they will do whatever they possibly can to make this happen. They're even saying that they're going to shut down the metro rail system, where they're going to hook chains up to the train and connect it to the track so the train can't move. I mean, this is getting absolutely ridiculous. But what we're seeing here is that these groups are becoming very desperate. They want something to happen during this period. There's ads being placed out throughout the nation to have people protest. I mean, this seems like it's one gigantic coordinated event. And we know what's happening here. The elite, the establishment, they are still pushing their goal to keep Trump out of office. And we can see we're getting closer and closer to inauguration. And Putin is out there saying there could be some type of soft coup. And I wouldn't put it past the elite to actually try something. Now, are they going to be able to get the crowds all riled up? Maybe, maybe not. I mean, they tried many times before in Ferguson and many other areas, and it just didn't work. But there could be another reason why they're doing this. I mean, think about it. They're putting out there that there's going to be all these protesters. There might be problems. They could be trying to convince everyone not to go there because it won't be safe. This way the crowds won't look that big for Trump. But I think the crowds are going to be very big for Trump, and they're going to be very small for the protesters. And it doesn't matter what the size is for the protesters. They're still going to try to provoke something and to get these protesters all riled up because they want it stopped. They don't want him in the White House. And again, if this doesn't work, what they're going to do is they're going to take this to the next level. And it looks like Trump is protecting himself with this plan of having it out in the corporate media, having it out there that these companies are going to be creating jobs to protect himself against this upcoming economic collapse. Now, the only other thing that they could do is assassinate him. Maybe there's some type of accident. Maybe there's a lone shooter. Maybe he has a heart attack. Because what is happening right now is the establishment, the elite, they are becoming desperate. They're running out of time. They know that he's going to be in the White House. They're going to try to force him to play ball. And if he doesn't do it, well, they're going to make their move. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.